With number 2, with example 2, we're given 6 1/8 and asked to write it as a decimal. This is a little bit different than the first example because the first example was simply a fraction by itself. This is a mixed number. We have a couple of options, but essentially they both yield the same answer. We could turn this into an improper fraction, which would be 49/8, and then just use long division. We're going to end up with that 6 out in the front. 49 divided by 8. We have a decimal here. 8 will go into 49 6 times. And that makes sense. Since we started out with 6 1/8, we know it's going to be 6 point something. Subtract, bring down your 0. That's going to be 1. 8 times 1 is 8. 2. When you subtract, bring down a 0. 8 times 2 is 16. 20 minus 16 is 4. Bring down another 0, and finally, 8 times 5 is 40. Now we could also just recognize, so we know that 6 1/8 as a decimal is 6.125. Now we could also recognize that it's just 6 point something, and look at just the fraction portion of the mixed number. 1 divided by 8. Either way, we end up with the same type of problem. How many times will 8 go into 10? 1. If you'll notice, this is extremely similar here. 10 minus 8 is 2. Bring down a 0. 8 times 2 is 16. And we're ending up with the same exact division problem. We're just looking at the fraction portion. 8 times 5 is 40. And again, everything's the same except that first step where we're adding in the 6. So we end up with 6 1/8 is going to be 6 point, and the 1/8 is 125. So 6 1/8 as a decimal is 6.125.